Mind the gap.
Okay, so welcome to this part 4 of Build the Classic Routemasters. Now, while I check the parts, I have a couple of apologies and announcements to make. Now, obviously, I'm recording this over the unboxing, where I'm checking. So it may well be that it's slowed down. This is because I've got quite a bit to say, and I don't want to end up talking over the actual build. So obviously it's Tuesday today, because Tuesday is my Routemasters day. This was actually received yesterday. Now, it's been 28 days since my last delivery. Well, it's been over 28 days, but I've only received 3 issues. Now, that is in part, apparently it's part of the terms and conditions. Now, I am investigating other ways to receive my issue, because I am now, as we speak, I'm 1 issue behind the actual release. So I have 4, 5 and 6. Issue 7 is already released, and issue 8 will be released tomorrow, and I'm not actually due to receive another 4 parts until for another 4 weeks. Now, I was told that I would be receiving, this is my 2nd delivery, and I'm told that my 3rd delivery will be 14 days after my 2nd delivery. However, I've had issues with, I'm currently doing 3 Hachette partworks. 1 hasn't actually begun yet, and that's the Warhammer one. But there's the Assassin's Creed and this one I'm having problems with. So I'm going to be honest with you. I will keep going, but I don't think I'm going to get a weekly issue out consistently for the next 4 weeks. But as I say, we will try, and we will just plod on. So that brings us to the build. Now, this looks quite a meaty little edition. And what it is we're going to be putting the kick plates and the back of the bus on. So here you see I'm just removing the back plates. Now, this is a part that looks very, very complicated, but in actual fact, if you follow the instructions carefully, it's extremely easy. You've got 1 metal plate which is actually quite long, and it needs to go round the little bend of the bottom step. Now, I feared that I might end up bending it or breaking it, and normally when I fix something like this on, I would normally screw 1 corner in, and then I would go diagonally opposite corner, and then the screws would all meet. I don't want to do that on this one. You need to put the right hand side in. That's the flat bit on the edge. So screw the 2 screws in there, then do the next 2, then the 3rd 2, and then you kind of hold it as it goes round the corner, and it kind of all comes into place. I will speed this part up, but I won't speed it up too much, so that you can actually see what's happening. So I would like to introduce my new screwdriver at this point. One of the comments made on my first video was to actually buy a new screwdriver. I didn't buy the screwdriver for issues 2 and 3, but I did pop into Poundland, and I bought. It's actually quite good. Now you'll see what I've done is I've pushed the metal plate down with my left thumb. But before I've done that, I've got the screw ready in the screwdriver. It is a magnetized screwdriver, and you see I've just put it in just enough to hold, and then I've put the 2nd screw in, and then I've tightened both the screws in, and this is the result that I end up with. Quite happy with that. Now, there has been complaints about the size of the screws. They don't look realistic. What some people are actually doing is putting in cut down pins, and they do look very nice. But what I've decided to do at this stage is I'm just doing the whole bus as per the build. You know, I can always make modifications later on. So yeah, I just thought I'll just keep it as per the magazine. Now parts 2 and 3 and part 5, sorry, part 4, you need to be putting the kick plates in, and these are quite straightforward because these are flat pieces. Now the first one goes on not a problem at all. Sorry, the second one, the one that I've just finished, well, I'm in the process of doing as we speak. But the third and the fourth ones, because the steps start to go round the corner, I found it difficult to get the screwdriver in, so I actually removed the side so that I could get at it easier. Then when I got to the top one, it actually didn't fit. So that's when I noticed that the fourth one I'd actually put in upside down. These little plates, you'll notice in the top left it's rounded. If the top left is square, it's upside down. By coincidence, all of the plates that I'd put in were by coincidence put in the right way round. I'd got lucky there, it was just that fourth one. But in addition, I found the plate was slightly long, so I actually had to remove the top step, put the plate on, and then put the step back on, and then obviously I put the side back on. So if you watch the next bit, and you'll probably understand what I mean. So as you can see, I pretty much managed that okay in the end. However, this is the part where I realised I'd got the kick plate upside down. Now you'll see that now that I've placed it on, it's got a rounded corner, and you'll see the bottom bit is a square corner. I'm trying to do sort of some kind of semaphore with my knife there, but I'm just trying to explain that the top pieces are rounded and the bottom pieces are square. And it doesn't really make that too clear in the instructions. It just says to fix them. Obviously this is something that I've discovered myself, but once I realised that, everything went in fine. Like I said, I did have to remove the step because basically that plate is like a 0.5 millimeter too long. It's really not anything significant. It did require a slight bit of force to get it back in. Because obviously once you've put the screws of those kick plates in, it gives you less room to maneuver, but it pretty much went without a hitch apart from the bits that I've mentioned. So once you've got the side of the steps back on, we now need to take out part 4B, which is the side panel, and you'll need 2 screws labelled AP. Now these are screwed in from underneath, and they won't show on the top. Now one of the things I found interesting was basically you're expecting the same shape as the step, but in the middle bit it's kind of curly. I think that's going to be hidden up. Looking at the leftover screw holes in the end, I think that will be hidden up in the end, so it's just to add a little bit of support. Now this only goes on with 2 screws, and it is very, very loose, very fragile once it's screwed in, but that will be taken care of in the next part. Okay, and on to the final part for this particular video. We need to bolt the staircase to the platform. Now this will require 5 screws. What I actually did was I used, first of all I bolted, well actually what happened, if you look at the bottom of the platform, the screws are quite, the screws seem a little bit bigger than the holes. So I drilled them a little bit wider by using the screwdriver, but equally you could use a knife. A file would be very useful. And then what I did was I located where the screw holes would be, and then I positioned five screws, 1 in each hole, and I just screwed them in just enough just to catch, because then that way you're not going to lose them. Then I located the where the holes would come out for the staircase, and then I bolted the 2 holes for, do you know, I can't remember the order I done it in now. I think I did the staircase first, and then I did the side panel, and then just put those in until they're they catch, and then once they're all in, you then tighten it up. And like I've said in my previous videos, I don't understand how, you know, torque and things like that. So what I've done is I've tightened them up until so they're tight with reasonable force. If you've got to push them in hard, screw them in hard, I think that's too hard. So there you go. Enjoy the rest of the build. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the build now, and I'd like to say that this has been quite an enjoyable build. There's been plenty to do. In actual fact, I found it was probably enough for me to do. You know, if there was more parts, probably it would have overwhelmed me a little bit. But also, it's now beginning to come to life. We now have the back platform, which now gives us an idea of how wide the bus is. Once we know how wide the bus is, you know, obviously we can have a little think, and it gives us an idea possibly of the length. And I can see now it's going to be a big build. So it is quite enjoyable, and really good part. Really enjoyed this. I mean, I can see what's coming up next, so we're going to be doing something completely different. That's my only criticism of this build, is that first of all we've done the bonnet, then we've gone to the back of the bus, and now we're going to do something completely different. But nevertheless, really enjoyable so far. A really good build that's just been let down by the company distributing it, I'm afraid. So I'll see you next week, guys. You take care.